আলাইকুম। যারা যেখানে আছেন, আমাদের বেলার অফ বাংলাদেশ থেকে প্রত্যেকটা দর্শককে শুভেচ্ছা জানাচ্ছি আমাদের এই মিট দ্য ম্যাস্ট্রো সেশনে, যেখানে আমরা একজন ম্যাস্ট্রো বা মাস্টার ইন হিজ অর হার স্পেসিফিক ইন্ডাস্ট্রি, তাকে আমরা কিছুটা সময় দেই তার মনের কথা বলার জন্য, তার কিছু অ্যাচিভমেন্টস নিয়ে কথা বলার জন্য এবং তার কন্ট্রিবিউশন নিয়ে কথা বলার জন্য, এবং দেশের জন্য কি ভালো হবে সেটা নিয়েও তারা তাদের কথার মাঝ দিয়ে অবদান রাখেন। আজকে আমাদের মাঝে আছেন এমন একজন মানুষ যিনি আরএনজি সেক্টরে অনেক বড় একটা অবদান রেখেছেন। ওনার নাম হচ্ছে মিস স্বপ্না ভৌমিক, আমার একজন খুবই প্রিয় পাত্র, আমার একজন বোন সুলভ, এবং she has joined, well, let me put it this way, she has always wanted to be a change maker, and indeed she has made the changes. She is a master's in philosophy, diploma holder in from BUFT, Bangladesh University of Fashion and Technology. What an extreme interesting blend. And then in 2006 she joined Marks and Spencer, and then in 2013 she took over as the country manager for Marks and Spencer Bangladesh, and if I'm not wrong, today she is also heading Marks and Spencer Burma.
Not now anymore. I used to.
Not okay. Now, you see, before I really want to talk about her, I want to tell you a bit about her contribution in the R&D sector during the pandemic, when the entire world was in crisis, especially Bangladesh. She has physically been out and out there visiting all the factories amidst the COVID and working towards a sustainable Bangladesh. Now, in R&D sector, the interesting part are the people behind the R&D sector. They are the ones who can take the R&D sector to a different level, and that's where Shopna has been investing her time, her effort, and her complete energy. Well, apart from her achievements during pandemic, she has made some achievements over the last 7 years or 8 years in Marks and Spencer. That would be my question to her, but before that, I would like her to tell a bit about herself. Then she can go to that context where how over the last 7-8 years she has really brought changes, and Marks and Spencer as a brand has become one of the top buyers of Bangladesh. Please, Shopna, thank you.
Thank you so much, Abha bhai. Thank you, Velar of Bangladesh, for inviting me this evening. শুভ সন্ধ্যা সবাইকে যারা যারা দেখছেন। A bit about me. I think I always, as I said, ছোটবেলা থেকে I really wanted যে যাই করি সেটার মধ্যে যদি একটা পরিবর্তন আনতে পারি। তো after my graduation, ঢাকা ইউনিভার্সিটি থেকে বের হওয়ার পরে I did my fashion diploma, যেটা আলবা ভাই বললেন, in BUFG. And then after that, I joined in a local organization, and I remember as an intern, I remember went to the factory, standing in the middle of the production floor, seeing 50% women working there, and that was the turning point, and that's when I decided that this is the industry I would like to work for, and that's how I ended up in this industry. I did work for Walmart and Next, and it's actually my 15 years in Marks and Spencer. I have, completed 15 years in August, and I did take the responsibility as a CEO from in the year of 2013. Some of the achievements I I don't know, Alba bhai, whether I would call them as like big achievements, but আমি বলবো যে yes, those are the changes that I wanted to bring when I joined the industry and joined Marks and Spencer. I think when I joined Marks and Spencer, obviously we were not sure, how what are the products we are going to source from here, who are going to be the partners that we are going to partner with. First thing I remember that came in my mind that changing the image of this country and in this industry, and how can I make the brand from the very beginning এবং মাইন্ডসেটটা কিভাবে চেঞ্জ করতে পারি. So obviously on those initial days, it was always core products, big lines, big volumes, but not really value added products. I think one of the key things from the very beginning that started to change, that I am not going to be only developing the core products and those volume products. I'm going to go after fashion. I'm going to go after seasonal products, and I think that is one of the biggest changes that we brought to the business from the beginning. So when I actually look at Bangladesh and compare with other countries like Vietnam, China, or even India for that matter, you come to Bangladesh, we made sure as a team that you have got a basket of goods that you can actually pick and choose from. You can have the core, you can have go for the fashion, and you can go for the more value-added products as well. So that was one of the first thing that wanted to change. The second thing is partnership. We wanted to work with those partners where the principles are same. We actually talk the same language. Our visions are same. And I would say that I was very lucky that I had that bunch of and set of suppliers that I got on the table. We could bring the changes together. And what will be those changes? Bringing obviously those missionaries who have got the mindset to change the people. You will often hear যে এখনো middle management তৈরি হচ্ছে না, এখনো we are not investing in people. So I think that was one of the key things. I wanted to invest the people in Marks and Spencer, simultaneously কিভাবে ওই চেঞ্জটা ফ্যাক্টরিতে আনতে পারি এবং to the workers too. আমার মনে আছে যে when I actually went to the factory and said that I want disabled people to work in the factory. 10% of the total population is physically challenged. How do we make sure that we make them as part of the mainstream workforce? And everybody obviously thought that I have got nuts. There is no way we can. Today, we proudly say that we have got 4,000 disabled workers working in the factory, and their efficiency is more. So that's another change that we actually bought on the table. Another one, obviously, as I said, 50% of the workforce were there female, but you hardly found that time, we have got female executives or line chief or GM. Okay, that was another thing that, wanted to change. And today we proudly say that we have got all those partners that we work with, CARE, DFID, and all of them. We train the workers, and we have got about 200, female supervisors working in the lines, and they're, the productivity on those lines are even higher in some cases. So I would say these are the few changes that we wanted to bring, uh, and we were probably successful to bring them, and a lot of people have followed those later on. And as I said, it's always how do we make the big the bigger, a impact gulo, how do we circulate to everybody, and then we all take it on board so that the change comes across as a big change. So probably those are the few things tried to change and was successful.
Shopna, thank you. And I would like to request you to uh, really give us those figures, because these figures really, the audience will be really triggered by these figures. How, from where today, how Marks and Spencer has evolved as one of the top buyers in Bangladesh.
Okay,
Take
so
pride in saying the figures.
I remember when I joined, we were doing those basic products of the value chain and the t-shirts, and I remember doing about 5 million. I think we started with. Uh, আমরা আসলে এই বছর যদি দেখি আমরা almost more than 1 billion sourcing করবো
There you
বাংলাদেশ.
go.
So it's actually a phenomenal number, and I think, as I said, that partnership actually came on the table, and we invested in people from the beginning. So productive process saving people here, we invested from the beginning, and I think that's where the numbers came from. And we could bring that huge success in terms of the products and in the business is just because we invested them from the very beginning.
Right. Lovely. So the ready-made garment, it contributes to 84% of the Bangladesh exports, and it is the driving force of our economy. And
Absolutely.
it's one of the largest, and we are one of the largest garment exporters. And we have seen some of the topsy-turvy or downward and upward graph, and especially during the pandemic, we had seen a dive, but then we came back. But again, lately we are seeing another little dive. So it's not steady like before. So right after the pandemic এর পরে আমরা জানি কেন যেন স্থিতিশীল নই, এটা একটা। আর আরেকটা হলো যে we have come from one state, মানে একটা সময় আমাদের গার্মেন্টসের যে অবস্থা ছিল, যেখানে স্ট্যান্ডার্ড প্র্যাকটিস বা ভ্যালু প্র্যাকটিসটা ছিল, তবে আমরা কোনো বেঞ্চমার্ক মেনটেন করতাম না। এবং বাট ওভার দ্য পিরিয়ড we have through lot of challenges, lot of disasters, we have come of age, আমরা আজকে একটা খুব সম্মানজনক অবস্থায় আছি। এবং this is part and parcel of any industry in any country, right? এবং এটা it's a process by which we are going to go to a level where we will be, as we are now, we will come to a level where entire world will be taking pride in us. And I would be very মানে এভাবে আমি যদি বলি যে টুডেও, আজকেও যদি if we stop exporting, 50% of the world will be without clothes. So you know uh, so that is one side of it. And আরেকটা সাইড হচ্ছে, সো ওই দিক থেকে আমাদের সাস্টেনেবিলিটি অ্যাপ্রোচটা কি হবে, আমি এটা জানতে চাচ্ছি। আরেকটা দিক হচ্ছে যে if you look at our neighboring countries, you see they have taken a different approach, where by developing products, whether it's fusion or whether it's their own designs, uh, they have taken over the fashion market. বাট আমরা কেন জানি আমাদের এই টোটাল ভ্যালু চেইনটা ঠিক মধ্যবর্তী অবস্থায় এখনো আমরা হয়ে আছি, দো উই আর হিয়ার ওভার দ্য লাস্ট 3 decades, এবং আমরা কেন জানি এখনো সেই গ্লোরিফাইড টেইলর হয়ে আছি। সো from that point of backward linkage, that is product designing থেকে নিয়ে, if you look at the forward linkage where we go and serve the shop floor of a retailer, and let's talk about Marks and Spencer, let them do what they are good at, is traditional retailer. Why can't we really take care of the rest? And I think if we can be a value chain where we can really link technically the backward sourcing to this point where we are reach out to the shop floor directly, I think we can really establish ourselves as the finest garment and the largest garment exporter in the world. Shopna, I'm handing over the stage to you now. Please take your time, and as soon as you're done, we will take some questions from the audience. Thank you, Shopna. Over to you now.
Thank you very much. So, I'll a couple of points you have actually mentioned. So, first one is obviously pandemic, and then this ups and downs about the market, and then third thing you have mentioned that how do we make this whole industry probably sustainable, and then how do we have this the local design, if I've understood your point correctly, and take them to the board of Marks and Spencer, or for that matter to other brands. So, excuse me. The first one, obviously, I'll talk about the pandemic. Uh, I think it was a learning not only for just government industry, for every industry, because it was unprecedented. It was unknown territory that every industry had to navigate. And as you rightly said, I remember in the beginning of the pandemic, and I was feeling so hopeless and helpless that there is no light, and it's just so unknown in everywhere. uh, the stores are going to get closed, the factories are going to be shut down, and I was thinking that how do we pay to those workers as well? So so I was feeling threatened, if I'm being very honest. And slowly, I started seeing the light, and slowly I was thinking that if we can stand together, and we can probably shift these threats to challenges and then to opportunities. And that's what exactly we have done. Uh, Coming to the office, sitting with the team, that what are the products
আমাদের সরায় না
probably we can concentrate, what are the products we probably think that, if when people start working from home, uh, what are the products we can market at this moment, what are the factories we can run, and then some of the factories that probably those products will not sell at this moment, people will be working from home, how do we make them survive? So having conversation with the UK team, when we started selling those essential products because people were working from home, we saw that there is great opportunity. Okay, and yes, took bit of risk, uh, came to work pretty much every day, and designing that those lines with the teams in the UK probably brought the success for it. I mean, those essential products we did 20% more than what we did actually last year. Those were like polos, the joggers, the t-shirts, and they sold really well. And then another learning was that how do we quickly multi-skill some of the workers, because especially on the oven side of the business, if you see, where having the difficult time because people were not going out, they were not really going to buy this pair of jeans or a pair of shirts. And we from the beginning, as I was saying, that we wanted to bring more value added products, so I had factories making suits for us, ladies blazers for us, dresses for us. And we were thinking how do we make sure that they survive and those workers get paid. And I remember working with one of the factories, where we were making the blazers. We were telling them how do we work together and multi-skill the workforce, reskill the workforce, and make them even gowns or essential product. And you'll be so surprised. And I think that's the beauty of Bangladesh, and that's the beauty of the workers that we have. They're so resilient, they were so open to learn that new thing. And I remember only it took probably like 3 weeks for us to train them. The management came together, the factory people came together, and we trained those workers to make the gowns and essential products in the suit factory. And that's how we have actually made them survive. So it was fantastic learning in the pandemic. Also was working with the mills because didn't could not import those fabrics. So I remember having that conversation with the local mills and said that this is the time that you actually step up, this is the time you come up developing those fabrics that we were actually importing. And you will be so surprised to see that we have got way more new fabrics developed locally during the pandemic than the regular time. So that was another great success of the pandemic. And obviously, that digitization, uh, the way of working, the working from home, uh, 3D design with the products, making sure the supply, the fact, I mean, since the buyers are not coming here, how do we show those new products, new developments, digitally was a beautiful learning, I would say. So yes, there were tough times, no doubt about it. We have worked very, very closely with the partners. We tried to make sure that we do not cancel the product. We had a lot of pushbacks, but we tried to pay the raw materials prices upfront as well. So I think, as I say, there were different types of innovations that we tried to bring on the table during that tough time, and it actually worked very well. And we are getting some benefit. We have taken those learnings ahead, and business is never the same again. It's new. It's way more, challenging. I think we are way more open-minded than we used to be as an industry. So pandemic had a lot of learning for us. Now, the second thing that you talked about, the ups and down. Market is very volatile. If you see the economic, graph in every country, it's just not only Bangladesh; it's everywhere. So it's a very volatile market at the moment. We are all now rebounding. So it will remain same for some time, but we have already started seeing the stability. If I just give you a very little example of Marks and Spencer, the way we are trying to actually open the window, we are going for collaboration with, these online platforms, Ocado, Zalando, that has actually created way more selling windows for us. And I'm sure it's not only just for Marks and Spencer, it's for other, brands as well. So this disruption will remain for some time, but I see that it's actually getting stable. uh, where you say that it looks a bit unstable, yes, it will be for some time, but I see a great hope that the way we are working together, collaborating together, I think we will actually see the stability unless and until there is any unexpected situation. Now the third point you mentioned about how do we make the whole you know industry sustainable. When it comes to sustainability, I actually look at it from different angles as well. So the first thing is, let's say, market sustainability. How do we make sure that the market that we actually export, how do we diversify those markets to make this industry sustainable? We are heavily dependent for Europe and American side of the market. How do we come actually even close to home? For example, India, we used to, when India started doing the retailing for Marks and Spencer, I remember we started with about 10%. But now what India sells, 53% of those products are actually delivered from Marks and Spencer Bangladesh. So our Bangladesh suppliers. So we have created a individual separate market for India, where actually we are delivering the goods by road, by sea. So how do we ensure that this Korea, China? How do we create different markets? I think that's where uh, BGME and everybody needs to see and work together, probably with the brands and others, to create different markets to make this market sustainable. The second thing I would definitely focus on is the product sustainability. Now, if you look at Bangladesh sourcing, it's 76% or more than that is actually cotton based, whereas the rest of the industry is very different. The world is probably 76% actually on the synthetic, but we are still very much dependent on the cotton products. There are great opportunities, and it's time. I know that some of the initiative already started. For example, the synthetic fabrics uh, for activewear product. Huge range of activewear products is a great opportunity for us, and we have already started developing those products. But the challenge remain there is we are actually importing this fabric or yarn. So we have to set that backward linkage so that we can actually diversify only from the cotton products to the synthetic products as well. And there are great opportunities on that. Again, if you look at whether everybody is actually sourcing value added products or not, the answer is probably no. Yes, we are probably ahead in sourcing more value added products from Bangladesh. uh, but we still have got a lot of opportunities to get all those outerwear products, those high valued products probably that China is doing. So there lies another opportunity to make this whole product range sustainable. We have to go for value added products. We have to uh, try and study the market and see which are the products and which are the fabric investments that we need to probably do in Bangladesh. We have got these huge EPZs. The new EPZs are there as well, but we need to do a proper marketing of them. How do we do roadshow? How do we do reach out to the investors and bring those foreign direct investments, collaboration, joint ventures to those new EPZs where we can make actually synthetic fabrics and synthetic yarn? By doing that, I think there is a great opportunity to get that product range actually more diversified and more sustainable. Now obviously there is another opportunity to get this product with the right chemical, and making sure that the proper use of natural water is happening. For example, if I give the example of the denim products that we do in Bangladesh, we are trying to make the whole 100% denim sustainable, and it's a commitment that we have actually made. uh, how can we use more genealogia, iflo, those type of new machineries that is coming, more leisure, this machineries, how do we get more coming to this industry and coming to different factories. So that's another way to make this whole product range sustainable. Coming from the people point of view now, if you look at it, when the digitization is going to happen, okay, and if you look at it, probably more vulnerable will be our women workforce. I remember when the sweater industry took that change from hand flat machine to probably this Chinese and this tall machines. I remember that all the operators, main female operators, actually moved to linking only. So we really have to find the mechanism, Jay. How do we reskill and multi-skill this workforce? And with this new technology, how do we make sure that the women, that gender gap is not there and they get the equal opportunity so that we have got this huge labor force that we have to make them sustainable. And here comes, I think, all these NGOs, all this, the development organization, we have to really work together. We have to find the mechanism to work with all these machine suppliers and try and find out what are the new technologies actually they are going to adopt, and how do we train the workforce beforehand so that people do not lose the job, especially for women. I think this huge labor force that we have to make sustainable as well. And again, the example that I was giving, uh, we really don't know whether another pandemic is actually waiting for us or not. A factory which is making actually shirts, will those workers be ready to make trouser, uh, given the opportunity or given the situation? So this reskilling and multi-skilling, I really don't know that if the entrepreneurs are taking enough initiative about it. But that's something we really need to see. How do we reskill and multi-skill those workforce? I talked about machineries. I think one thing we take huge pride in Bangladesh, that we have got state of the art, laundries here. So this proper chemical usage, having those new technologies, those new machineries, whether we are bringing to the table or not, and then on top of that, this use of efficient use of water. That's another thing that we have to really take it seriously, and to if we want to really make this product sustainable. Now, coming to the process sustainability bit, I was talking about that. We are hugely dependent on cotton products. So recycling is another important thing that we'll have to see. How do we make this industry more circular? So if I give the example of Marks and Spencer, we are actually working with this, global fashion agenda, and making sure that all these cotton programs, all these cotton products that we are actually using, we are not going to put them in the landfill. And how do we make sure we reuse them? And how do we make that industry specific, and not only just, let's say, MNS 92 factories that we are working with? How do I make sure that every factories that we are working with, we are having this recycling policy in the place? So those are very critical things. As I said, this circularity is something that will have to adapt across the industry to make sure that everybody is looking at it, everybody is actually having this policy to adopt, so that this we can make this circularity as industry across. And then obviously this Higg index, use of that is another very important. Carbon emission, we'll have to definitely look into that, so that we can make the example. We have already set the example when it comes to having this factories. I always take pride that the way we have invested, the way our entrepreneurs have invested in the green factories. You will often probably hear from some of them that we have invested hugely, but we have not really seen the result, which is probably not true when it comes to Marks and Spencer. The green investment, the green factory that we have got, and their renewable energy, and the way they are actually using those processes. If you're on that path, if you're investing on that, we actually give you the first priority. Okay, we are trying to go for way more commitment with the suppliers. uh, it's not probably the practice here that somebody is actually cheap in terms of their prices, and we will actually go after that. Rather, we made that huge partnership. And as I said, I mean, probably I was always an advocate of having diversified product, and we have to bring this circularity in the industry. The strong partnership with the buyer and with the manufacturer is the probably the key, and that's how we have seen the success. If I give you an example, let's say in one factory we used to make only the jersey, tops, and since I started developing the lingerie, and actually we are having the same conversation with them. If we bring the lingerie, will you be able to invest? And they actually came up with the investment, and we are doing $50 million business together. Just for the lingerie today. So now when you are actually big and when you are having this strategic relationship, you can actually drive this sustainability, the renewable energy, and all of it together. So that's why I think the partnership comes very, very strongly important, so that you drive those changes. The last point you mentioned about having the local design, I think I have been always very vocal about how do we get our products co-created, designed from here. We have got this good bunch of designers. How do we make sure that we bridge that gap between them and probably the designers are working in the UK, and especially for Marks and Spencer. We had been very successful with some of the suppliers. Some of them still could not change that mindset that we have to invest in R&D. Whoever came forward, whoever actually started developing, they have already started seeing the results. We have got one factory, we only buy their design. Okay. So there are about, we buy the t-shirts, the graphic t-shirts they design, their designers, in-house designers, they're designing it, and we are buying exactly the same products. But it's just only few, not everybody. It's not industry across. I feel there are great opportunities still there, that we have to invest in our R&D and develop the people. How do we make sure that our designers are actually very, very well aware about the world trend, and how do we make sure that we connect them with the designers there? uh, but I see there are a lot of opportunities. If you look at India, the way they have put their names and established that this hand stitch, this different types of tops. You see those products, you see that fabric, and you actually know it from they're from India. So we'll have to find out that how do we establish that, how do we do that branding, how do we develop those people, and get those products sold, just made in Bangladesh, designed by Bangladesh as well. And as I said, we are working on it. We are collaborating with the suppliers, but the suppliers have to come forward and invest in the people. And once they invest in the people, excuse me, the products, they will definitely find the result. And as I said, I mean, I always take the pride of our entrepreneurs. They are forward thinking. Yes, we learned it from hard way. We had issues, but the way they have actually turned around, the way they have understood that these are the right thing to do when it comes to product development, process development, bringing circularity on the table. If we can just see how do we bring this fashion element from our own designers, we will see way more success going forward. Thank you. Alupi, you're on mute.
Excuse me, sorry. But thank you, Shapna. I think it was quite a helpful deliberation from your end. Uh, yeah, you covered it all: people, process, product. That's the core. These are the three cores of any sustainable business. Uh, but where it remains is, again, we're going back to that point of self-sustainability that is creating that linkage. More factories should come up, and I think uh, uh, there should be exclusive designing houses, as a matter of fact, that can create another. periphery of employment, another periphery of advantage, and I think we can do it. I mean, we have the heritage of Muslim, we have the
We
heritage
can
of
definitely do it. And as I
Ab-
said, that market diversification is very important as well, Alva bhai. It's
correct,
not only just Europe and America, you know what I mean? So
correct.
when you bring that market diversification, can we have the modesty range for the Middle East to be developed and designed by Bangladeshi designers? It has already started. So we are actually developing this modesty range only for the Dubai. So how do we get this international market? Okay, and exclusively designed for them. That would be something very, very interesting to look at. And as I said, I'm always an advocate for that. Anything new, we have put a process together that any fabric development coming on the table from our local mills, we always put that to the designer's table, saying that these are new. Again, marketing is another thing that we need to really get better. Uh, Sometimes we really don't know how to sell. Okay, we have learned it, we are learning, but if you really know how to approach, how to put those newness on the table, I think everybody is open to it. Okay, so having those
Right.
standalone design centers catering to this different international market can create opportunities, can create the industry sustainable, no doubt about it.
Are all other or major buyers who have their offices in Bangladesh, as you belong to the same community on one side, are their approach also similar to yours, or they have a, are they more as liberal as you are, as flexible as you are?
I think everybody is all by everybody is looking at it, to be very honest. And if I give you another example of H&M, the way they're working in terms of developing the products, developing the process, uh, the great work that they have been doing on the circularity even from the H&M Foundation. So I think the top ones and everybody is actually quite good advocate. They're trying from their own ends. But as I said, the partnership is very important. If you do not have the right partnership and have the right mindset, the same similar mindset, you won't be able to bring those changes. So that's why the commitment from the buyer is also very important. If the mentality is that somebody is offering me better price and I'm just moving away, I think that as another reason we were very successful with the suppliers that we're working with. Whenever there is a challenge, how do we work together? How do we brainstorm? And that could be anything. That could be on the process point of view, product point of view, people point of view. How do you work together? I think that brings better changes. Okay, when you co-create the product, when it comes to re-engineering the products to probably even reduce the price, wherever you can pay more, the office, the team I have, they've got mentality to pay more. This partnership, okay, is very important. So the trust between these two parties will bring better changes, and that building the trust is very important.
My just I'll have couple more questions. Uh, 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 do you see the next generation, or you're working with a lot of suppliers now that you see, a lot of partners you have you seen what is the percentage of the next generation coming in and taking over the business?
uh, Quite a lot,
Quite
quite
a
a
lot.
lot, and quite a lot, and it's just so wonderful working with them. uh,
Correct,
so
exactly.
working because it's very interesting because we have taken that knowledge, okay, uh, from they started from the scratch. They didn't have any idea about this branding, sustainability, having this compliant infrastructures and all of it, but they built an industry absolutely from nothing. Okay, and they have made it to an extent where we are now the second largest. Now the next generation, when they're on the table, uh, we talk about circularity. Now we talk about digitization, we talk about 3D sampling, and it's, as I said, most of them actually studied abroad. They're absolutely multicultural mentality that you have, because they have seen it, and it's quite wonderful working with them. So we have got this huge
Fantastic.
knowledge tank as their first generation, and then the second generation are on the table, who are way more open-minded. Workers' well-being, it's one of the things that they have taken it so seriously. You'll be so surprised to see that that's one of their key agendas, that it has to be there, and then bringing this more newness, innovation on the table. So it's beautiful, wonderful working with them.
That's fantastic. That's simply so encouraging, so inspiring, and you know, yes, that would be one of the change key change differentiator
Absolutely.
as we go forward. Maybe the linkage that we are talking about, the product diversification that we are talking about, it is now going to happen. Now, I've got a couple of questions from the audience. Again, the price factor has come up. Thank you, Mr. Bhaskar Ranjan Shaha. As far as our factory is concerned, the price is a critical issue always, claiming that the buyers are always offering low price. Uh, uh, you know, uh, 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 Buyer point of view, it is indeed an issue in the industry to be required for addressing this challenge. Would you
It,
like to?
it is an issue, no doubt about it. And as I was telling you earlier, that that partnership, there will be products the consumer will win. There will be products the manufacturers will win. There will be products that probably the brand will win. Now, when the challenge is there, instead of looking for probably cheap price from somewhere else, I think how we work with, and that could be an example, probably the others can take as well. We brainstorm and we re-engineer the product. Okay, so whenever there is this challenge, we sit together as a team, and there are like ample examples where we went to the factory, sat with the pattern maker, re-engineered the product together, and made sure that that price has been made. Okay, uh, I think if you can create that mentality, that where you can co-create the product, re-engineer the products, you can actually overcome that challenge, rather than looking at, because that's a easy way out. There is always be somebody cheaper at the corner. Rather than looking at that, how do we work together to make sure we come on the table, and that's probably win-win for both of us. I think that's our approach. And I think, as I said, building this huge business wasn't easy. Okay, this huge sourcing, making Bangladesh the biggest sourcing for Marks and Spencer, because we followed those principles. We made sure that we worked together to see how do we reduce the price. Okay, and how do we face that challenge. Yes, there were incidents which was tough to handle, no doubt about it. But I would say 9 out of 10 times, when we worked together, re-engineered the product together, okay, we could overcome the challenge.
Fantastic. That's another great positive note. Finally, there's a question. Uh, of course, we have spoken about sustainability. There was a question from Mr. Navid Iftikhar. Thank you. And the second question from Mr. Navid Iftikhar is, are there significant sectors worth peeking into to achieve sustainability in RMG? I think we have spoken about all the corners, all the
Right.
corners. We've
Right.
spoken about the product, we've spoken about the process, we're talking about the price right now,
People.
people as well, the new generation coming in. Uh, the last question that remains is, like yourself and like Mr. Ziauddin, who's leading the H&M office in Bangladesh. So do we get to see more Bangladeshi leading, more buying offices under Bangladeshi leadership going forward?
I think it's not only just the RMG sector, Albert Bhai. You know it very well. You are very well connected with all of them. 10 years back scenario and now is very different. Okay, we have got
Fantastic.
so many inspirations around us. I mean, Azman Bhai in Grameenphone, uh, Munim Bhai in BATV. We have got now, Unilever CEO as the Bangladeshi IPTC. There are, sorry, Rupali Chaudhary in Barger. We have got so many examples to look up to now. Now, coming to the garment industry, of course, the technical knowledge, because we brought a lot of people is just because they had better technical knowledge. Okay. uh, if you look at this industry, it's just not only now me and Zia. uh, the Puma country head, the G Star country head, the Esprit country head, okay, they are Bangladeshi. And we probably uh, can dream big. I mean, the Martinezzer who's joining today in the industry, he can actually think that, I can become the CEO of, Marks and Spencer or H&M, which was not the case before. So absolutely, 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 and the companies have started seeing that these local leaders can bring so many positive changes, not only for the industry and for the community. Okay. So, and I'm sure, so let's say if I just talk about Marks and Spencer, they know, and because they set the example. Okay. uh, Everybody can think of that, they can reach out there because they have got examples to see. And I think the next generation, I always feel that they are way more smarter, they are way open. I have got big hope, seeing them. They can reach out to the information, like in the fingertip. We have learned it in a very hard way. Okay. But they have got technology now, they can see it way more clearer probably than the way we used to. So yes, I am very hopeful that there will be time that all these brands will be actually led by the Bangladeshi, people, and those
Made in
days are not
Bangladesh all the
far.
way.
Absolutely, and
Made
those
in
days are not
Bangladesh all the
far.
way.
Making
Yeah,
Bangladesh all the way, Abu Bhai.
right. Great, Swapna. It was. I have to let you go. I know, but it's so always fun talking to you and your passion for the industry. I wish you all the success. You have so many years in front of you, but let me request you: keep building successes. Keep building successes. Keep building more Swapna Bhomik. All the best to you and hoping to see you, dear audience. Thank you very much for your questions and hoping to see uh, more audiences in our next episode of Meet the Maestro next Tuesday. Until then, thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you,
Thank
Shapna.
you very much. সবাই ভালো থাকবেন, সুস্থ থাকবেন. Thank you very much. Thank you, Abu Bhai.